connecting your brain and body with interactive games and tests. Why is there no physical activity in today's health physical? Trazer is an holistic technology used to rehabilitate, prevent falls, and improve sport performance. Trazer reports provide you, your clinician, your physical therapist, or athletic trainer objective data to make decisions on your health and performance over time. Measure what matters to change your game. Take the Trazer Challenge. Confidence, growth, connected by Trazer.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sports Arena on a Wednesday night. I'm your man, Eric Wilson. I've got the entire crew here with me this evening, and we got a special guest joining us. So much to get to. Like I said, jam-packed show. Let's not waste any time. As always, we get our Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price, in the building alongside with my man, Ray Lynn, sports reporter without pay. Returning after being off for about 5 days, he is back. My man, John Scheer, is in the building. And our special guest, joining us from the sip-off, the NBA Carousel, part of the Sideline Sports Network family, our man JJ Jenkins is in the building. So good evening, one and all, except for John Scheer. And how is everybody doing tonight?
All is well.
How are y'all?
I'm in a fantastic mood because, as I just saw, my Chicago Sky have, no pun intended, rebounded from their opening loss to the LA Sparks and beat the New York Liberty. So I am ecstatic to know that the champs have gotten out of their own way, doing what they got to do. But aside from that, we got so much to talk about. And of course, a big shout out to my man, Ray Lynn, holding it down, presenting us with some unique topics tonight to have a conversation around. So I'm going to start and give the man his flowers right now, because this is what I have to do. John Scheer, I expected better of my Philadelphia 76ers. You currently are in the driver's seat right now, sir.
See
you beat us. You beat us last night. And you know what? You know what? Let me just do this and get it out the way, and then I'll let John have his moment.
Swung on and hit in the air to deep left center.
Welcome to Eric's Reign. I'm just in a loud mouth with an opinion. So whether you like it or not, here it goes. And yes, this is going to everybody who is a part of the 76ers organization. What on God's green earth were y'all doing last night? Because I'll tell you what you weren't doing. You weren't being the mashed potatoes and green beans to the complimentary. You weren't complimenting Joel Embiid, a man who was injured, a man who has played his ass off this whole entire year, has come back for y'all. And this is what you give him. Now listen, Joel Embiid is going to have an off night, which means the rest of y'all, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle, Danny Green, DeAndre Jordan, and the rest of the crew, y'all need to step up. Y'all just got off the plane, went to the Blue Fountain or the Blue Martini or somewhere on South Beach and said, oh, we got time. We can take care of this. It's Miami. No, you're playing one of the best defensive teams in the entire NBA. Oh, and by the way, you playing Jimmy Butler. Remind me, people, where did Jimmy Butler play a couple years ago? Would that not be Philadelphia? You don't think Jimmy Butler's got a chip on his shoulder? And y'all just let this man do whatever he wanted to do last night. He was all over the floor. Philly, it's game 6. Y'all need to step the hell up. We are not, What bothers me more than anything is what you did in game 4, what you gave me a taste of, was what I was expecting to see at least 80% of in a game 5, in a pivotal key game 5. And what did y'all do? Y'all went to bed. I'm embarrassed for you. This is ridiculous. And I will say to you what I have said to other teams when I pull their feet to the fire and I call them to the front of the congregation. Shout out to Charlamagne the God in the Breakfast Club. You know what you need to do. I got 2 simple words for you, Philadelphia 76ers, because this game tomorrow is all or nothing. Do yourself, do me, do the fans a simple favor. Fix it.
That was aggressive. Just saying.
Shout out.
Before John got anything out his mouth, I wanted to make sure that I said what I needed to say. So, John Scherer, please, sir, you can pile on if you'd want to, but the floor is yours.
As Kobe Bryant once said, the job's not done. So that's all that needs to be said. The job's not finished. So we saw what happened in Miami and went up 2-0. They went on the road and lost 2 games. Now they shot 18% in game 4 from 3, which they don't normally do because they're a 3-point shooting team. So they should have won that game. If you shoot 30% instead of 18, you beat the 76ers because you were down by a few points going into the 4th. You shot terrible from 3, which you hardly ever do. However, Sixers won both games. Heat won their game at home. I expect the 76ers to win their game in game 6, and then the Heat do exactly what they did to the San Antonio Spurs when they got to a game 7 on their own home court. Mollywop them. It's exactly what I expect the Heat to do to the 76ers. Crush them in game 7, just like they did last night. The Heat that's why the Heat wanted the number 1 seed, is because at home, they're almost unbeatable. Like, that's the team that they are. And when you have home court advantage like they have, that's what makes them so dangerous. That's why I wanted this over you, Eric. That's why the 76ers, for some reason, it seemed like they gave up on the number 1 seed towards the end of the season. That's why I was so happy to have it, because I know how much, at least for us, home court advantage means. So I think it's going 7, though. I definitely don't think we win 6.
You know, for a man who ain't got a lot to say, you
John,
sure are bumping your gums a lot.
John, I almost had to boot myself. Like, I was about to cuss you smooth out and just drop it.
It's all love. I had
Raylin,
to, get a little revenge
I see
after
the expression on your face, Raylin.
that
So
championship
I'm
you beat us in.
I'm going to let you do you. So
This is just unreal. First off, John, it's amazing like that John went into health and safety protocols when Philly was winning. The last time we saw John Scherer on this show, he had his legs crossed and was sitting up smiling with his Miami Heat jersey on, and they was up 2-0. And when Philly was winning, we didn't see John Scherer on the show, period. He didn't have to account for when his team played bad. And then he comes back on the show after they win a game. You say, go ahead, John, you got the floor. No, he don't get the floor. He got to show up in good and bad times. He can't be the fair weather guy on the show. And Eric, you are living proof that Philadelphia have the worst fans. It's a series, bro. They lost the game. Like, I don't know if that deserved the rent. They played a bad game.
They didn't lose a game. They got stomped by 35.
Hey, listen,
don't you
whether you
forget
lose
that.
whether you lose by 35 or whether you
baby.
lose by 1, it's 1 loss. You don't get extra wins for winning by 30. You get 1 win. And guess what? Whether they won by 1 or whether they won by 50, they was going back to Philly for game 6. Philly went to Miami and dropped a dud. It happens. And now they get to go back to Philly and try and make this go to game 7. So every time Philly play bad, we got to come on the show and talk about it, because we did this when they was down 0-2. We came on and talked about how bad Philly was, and Danny Green didn't show up, and James Harden, where are you? And what happened? They went out and won the next 2 games, and we didn't say nothing about it. And John Scherer was nowhere to be found. And now that his team go out and plays a hell of a game, won't happen again. 7 players in double figures won't happen again, right? We're going to come on here and talk about that. And we're going to rant like Philly just trash now because they lost the game. Come on,
I'm not saying, hold on. Raylin, I'm not saying they trash. Hold on, Raylin. I ain't saying they trash, but you know what? I'm a whole feet to the fire. I don't give no excuses, and I damn sure don't make no excuses. When you walk into that stadium and you walking into hostile territory in a pivotal game 5, You know what's at stake. You know what's on the line. You know you have the opportunity to write your own ticket to what I've been saying since March. They're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's what you lay? That's what you put up on the court? Come on, man.
Listen, it happens, man. Like
I recognize it happens, but not like
so,
that.
Hold on. Let me ask you a
not
question.
like us.
So, why at no point on this show did we have a topic about, man, Philly could have rolled over and died and they fought back and they back in the series? We didn't even talk about it. We was just like, hey, yeah. And you was like, hey, I called it Philly Eastern Conference Finals bookie. But John Shear wasn't here to talk about it, right? And now they have a bad game and it's like, it's the end. They're going to be back tomorrow. The guy who should have been MVP going to be back tomorrow. They're going to play better at home. They just go at some point. What's the phrase? Series don't start until the road team win a game. It still ain't happened yet. So Miami did what they're supposed to do. They held serve at home. And we got to have a rant about Philly playing bad. Like, teams play bad in the playoffs. But I ain't even that. I'm mad at you, Eric, because you ranted about your team. But I'm mad at John. I'm mad at John for disappearing when his team was losing. Again,
I can't help. I was
sitting up here, Indian
dead
style,
to the world
with
for
his
the past
legs
5
crossed.
days.
I told you guys the depth. Oh, the depth. Where was the depth? The depth in games 3 and 4, John?
Where was the depth last night, sir?
No, you don't get to talk about. You wasn't here for 3 and 4, John. You wasn't
Well,
here.
that's because
touch about
Friday
3
we
and
didn't
4,
have a show.
John.
Saturday and Sunday we didn't have a show.
Okay.
Okey-dokey.
Fair
Well,
weather.
when you have
I'ma
shows
show up-
Friday, Saturday,
I'ma
and
show
Sunday,
up when
let
my
me know
teams
and I'll
win.
hop on.
I'm gonna show up when my teams win and talk about it.
Well, your team's not in the playoffs, so.
I'm a fan of basketball, sir. If we want to talk about my
That's
team,
not a
we got-
team.
we got-
Basketball's not a team.
Yeah, but we got championship hanging in the rafters. We ain't got to go there. I'm just
Oh,
simply
you're-
saying, if you're gonna come on here and gloat when your
Oh, your
team
team's
wins,
not in the playoffs
you're supposed to
this
be here when they lose too, John.
I always
All
am.
right.
All
Let me get Megan
All right.
and our guest JJ in here. I'm gonna step
You're
aside.
just
I'm gonna
mad
let
because of
Megan
that
and
post you
JJ do
made,
their
and now you're
thing.
eating crow.
Listen, Megan, JJ, go ahead, and John, I
How's
will
that
put
crow
you out of
taste?
order.
I really feel like you do have to highlight the fact that they lost by 35. Yeah, it is a loss, regardless whether it's by 1 or 35. I agree. It still goes in the win-loss column as it is. I completely agree. But there is something that comes along with losing by 35 points. It's called demoralization. So you take away some of that steam going into the next game, and possibly the series is over in the next game. I know we talked about point distribution on the last show, so I just want to highlight what the Heat was able to do in this game. 23 for Jimmy, 19 for Struss, 15 for Vincent, 13 for Oladipo. Bam had 12, and even PJ had double digits with 10. So that's what you call a team effort. Man, 35 points? You got to talk about it.
I mean, I will there's a lot of great points that are being made here, but I do have to agree that didn't expect them to kind of lay an egg like that. But I will say one thing I've learned about the playoffs is typically at home, your role players step up, and it's never more evident than in this series. And I think to Ray's point, a big reason why they didn't talk about Philly not coming back, or so to speak, is because the consensus was they were only down because Joel Embiid wasn't there. Now that Joel Embiid came back, people was like, okay, Philly's back to full strength. So it didn't surprise people that they won 2 games straight. What probably bothered me is it felt like they were literally, down about Joel not winning MVP. And that's happened. That's normal. That's human for people. And it really showed the other night. But again, role players stepped up for Miami at home. Phillies did not. You go back to Philly, Danny Green and them had the game of their life, but the role players for Miami did not show up. So tomorrow, I do agree with Ray. I think that they're going to come back and they're going to win game 6, and this has 7 written all over it. And then you get the real game. The home teams have won every time. You get the real game 7.
I just want to say that if Joel Embiid not winning the MVP has affected this team at all for what happened last night or going forward, then this is a soft-ass team. This is not a championship team. If that affects them, I'm not knocking your team, Eric. I'm just saying if JJ's right, then that's a soft-ass team.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Probably good.
Hold on.
Maybe
No,
he
you
is
just
muted.
formulated your lips, John, and said that my team was
I'm
soft.
replying
You're
like a
saying my
reporter
team is
does
soft.
to
Is that
what
what
he
you're saying,
said. I replied to what JJ said. I'm going off of what he said. He said they're probably down because he did win the MVP, and I said, well, if that's the case, then that's a soft-ass team. I'm not saying they did or didn't react based off of him not winning it, but if that's the case, then that's not a championship team.
John,
Because you can't hang
you
your
are
hat
not
on
gonna
a
come on
guy
the
not
Sports
winning
Arena.
MVP.
You are not going to come on the show that is a part of the Sideline Sports Network family, our show, and sit here and say that my team is soft.
I said
have never
they went with that mentality. Even if
And
my
you
team
know they didn't, John.
if my
And
team
you
went
know
with
they
that
didn't.
mentality because Jimmy Butler didn't win MVP, then my team is soft and they need to rethink
Okay.
themselves. Like
All right,
it's a damn
you know what,
award.
John? John, that's right. You can say that about your team. What you ain't gonna do is you ain't gonna say it about my team. You keep that energy for your team, for your Dolphins, for your Heat, for your Carolina Hurricanes, for your Baltimore Orioles. You keep that energy for your team. But when you speak about Philly teams, when you speak about my team, when you speak about the Chicago Sky, don't put them disrespectful words out your mouth because you know I'm coming for you. Don't even try that bull with me tonight.
Hey,
No,
I
will
just
not
want
do
to
that.
say, the only reason why I said that might have been there is because Doc Rivers made a comment about it at halftime, saying that, you know what, he is our MVP. So it was at the forefront of his mind. In my opinion.
Hey, JJ, and I just want you to know, like when you see me get that excited, right? When you go, hey, no, the consensus was, Joel was out. No. That man down there rubbing his forehead with them glasses on told us it didn't matter that Joel Embiid was out. He said it was the depth of the Miami Heat. It didn't matter that Joel was out.
It didn't matter last night that he played.
No. You skipping past the 2 games. You talk like it didn't matter that Joel was out, and then when he came back and they won 2, you was nowhere to be found, sir.
He was nowhere to be found last night either. He was nowhere to be
Now,
found last night.
But to your points, the both is right. I think Joel is the best player on the court, but I will say I think Miami's bench is better than Philly's bench. So I think
where was Harden? Where was Harden though? He showed up for one game.
But I think also Joel was hurt. Joel was hurt after the hit in his eye, and I think he was playing with a lot of pain.
For sure. Yeah, he was in pain. You can see it.
Don't give me that nonsense. Don't give him excuses.
John, you know
I heard this. Oh,
John,
Joel's back.
Injured.
It's a different series. Blah blah blah.
Be injured and play as consistent as he did, and then come talk to me. But until then,
17 points and 5 boards.
We're moving on, John.
Okie dokie.
We're moving on. Thank you. All right, next up, let's talk about Phoenix Dallas. Queen of Hoops, you have been patient with us this evening, as you always are. Thank you so much. But talk to me about Phoenix and Dallas. What is going on with this series, and what can we expect? I mean, this is, Phoenix should be closing this out. And looks like that might even go to a 7. I don't know. But talk to me.
It's not going to a game 7. It's going to be closed out tomorrow night. I was not surprised by game 3. I felt like Dallas was going to grab 1 at home, but they grabbed 2 at home, and that was a little surprising to me. I felt like Dallas had enough in them to let them know, like, hey, we're here for at least 1 game, but I didn't know if they had enough to go ahead and win both of those home games. To me, Dallas is a team that is 1 player short of being a contender, and they don't have the center depth. That's that position that they really need to fill. But and then Phoenix doesn't have those problems. They have Ayton, they have JaVale McGee, they have Biyombo. Like, they have size, they have rim protectors, they have center depth. So I felt like this matchup wasn't going to be great for Dallas, and I was surprised by game 4. Game 5 is not a shocker whatsoever. Not Devin Booker's performance, not Chris Paul's performance. None of that was really a shocker to me, to be honest. They didn't need Chris Paul to step up in that way, and so he didn't have to. The rest of the team stepped up. Devin Booker did Devin Booker things. And like I said on the last show, it was going to be a blowout. They were going to make a statement with game number 5. They're going to close it out tomorrow night. It is going to be a closer game, but I expect it to be like 10, 11 point deficit. Series is over tomorrow.
Okay. Raylin, do you agree with that?
No. I mean,
of course not.
Well, I mean, I wasn't even listening.
Okay. Right back at you.
She made some great points.
No, like I heard everything she said. And I disagree. It's not even about disagreeing with her. We the same thing as the last series, right? Road team ain't won a game yet. And you talking about role players stepping up on like Dorian Finney-Smith, Jalen Brunson, like those guys are playing so much better in Dallas. So I expect Dallas to do the same thing, right? We saw in games 1 and 2, like we talked about this on the last show. It's 2 ways you can guard a superstar. You put your defensive game plan on. You say, okay, we're gonna shut him down and force the others to beat us, or you say we're gonna let him get his, and the others won't get anything, right? And that's what happened in games 1 and 2. Luka went off, and they said we're not gonna let the role players get off, especially on the road. Role players don't play that great, right? Luka went crazy. You get in game what 3 and 4. Luka has good games, but he ain't dropping 40, right? And they win both games. So that's what I think is going to happen in game 6. Guys like Jalen Brunson are going to step up. Finney Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, who we were raving, what Megan was really raving about, right? When they made that pickup. I expect those guys to play better. I expect Dallas to push this thing to 7. I'm just trying to figure out, this is Devin Booker's second year in his career in the playoffs. And now he has a good game, and it's Devin Booker things. It ain't Devin Booker don't do Devin Booker. He's Devin Booker. But it's going 7. It's going 7.
Okay, fair enough. JJ, talk to me about this, man.
Devin Booker.
So with personal experience of this guy, every now and then Spencer Dinwiddie has a great game, and then some stretches where he just goes ice cold. And I think that's a big reason why I was shocked Dallas won game 4 like Megan is, because I knew Luka was going to show up. I kind of had more faith in Brunson showing up, but I didn't expect everybody else to show up like they did. I think Dodo had 7 threes or 8 threes. That's hard pressed to see somebody do that again. And I have to give credit to Phoenix because I expected them to come out better at home. Chris Paul had a rough game 4. You just expected him to come back, and he was a big part of why they were able to get off the way that they did. Bridges had a good game. Aiden had a good game. Devin Booker, and I will have to kind of disagree with you, Raylan. He may not be doing, I understand what you're saying, nothing like Devin Booker things, but Devin Booker has been pretty good in the postseason, and he's ascending into possible greatness. He's not there yet, but I think that's more of a product of the team that's around him because they play team ball. But I think if he had to, he could drop the 40-50 that has to kind of be needed to help a team win if other guys aren't stepping up. But I do expect game 6. I think Phoenix is going to close it out because much like the series against New Orleans, I think the same thing follows suit here. They're the better team. They are the better team. And I think they're going to put up a formidable fight at home because Dallas does play well at home. But there's a reason why this team is considered the number 1 team in the entire NBA. And they're going to show why tomorrow.
I mean, yeah, like you guys said, with the Suns playing the Mavericks, this feels like the New Orleans series all over again. It's 3-2 Phoenix, but it doesn't feel like the series is any close. It's just like the New Orleans series. It feels like it's going to end in 6 with a blowout by Phoenix, going to the Western Conference Finals. Like you guys said, I mean, the home team has won every game. Dallas, I mean, I expected Brunson to step up more in this series. Dinwiddie's done absolutely nothing. He hasn't even been ice cold. I mean, I feel like he's playing in Lambeau in January right now. I feel like that's his mindset every game. And Phoenix doesn't go into this series or didn't go into last night's game saying, oh, well, Devin Booker, you didn't win the MVP. Let's take that personal and let's just throw this game. Nope, they didn't do that. They went out and blew out the team. They beat the team they were supposed to because that's what a really good team does. Unlike some other teams. But anyway, Phoenix is just they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're going to meet Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. And Devin Booker's playing really well. Raylan, I don't understand how you're not giving this guy his credit. I'm not saying he's the best player in the league, but you do have to give him credit. He's played really, really well for them lately, and they've needed him because Paul's been like a roller coaster. He's been up and down. Some games he has a big game. In other games he has 4 points. He has more, turnovers than he does points. So, I mean, Devin Booker's really been carrying them. And then Ayton just disappears at times, which, I mean, you would think this guy would finally step up and start dominating like the big man he is. But Devin Booker has to do most of it, and then guys like Cam Payne have to step up and help out. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting series when they play Golden State Warriors.
And I just wanted to chime back in, guys. First off, Raylan last week was praising me on the round 1 about what I had to say about Spencer Dinwiddie. And, Megan, that was a great pickup. And then in this series, against the best team in basketball, he's having a tough series. He does have stretches where he goes streaky. But I do remember you telling me, hey, that was a great call. Spencer Dinwiddie has been great with Dallas. And then Devin Booker doing Devin Booker things, 28 points in 28 minutes. The epitome of efficiency right there. I think I was right.
All right.
Where's that Megan mic drop?
Time out. Where did, first off, the Spencer Dinwiddie thing, if you listen when I was talking, I said Spencer Dinwiddie should play better on the road, who Megan was raving about. That wasn't even a shot. The Spencer Dinwiddie comment wasn't a shot. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't even know. I don't know what you're rebuttaling. I didn't say anything
Okay.
bad about him.
Okay.
I don't know when Devin Booker scored 28 in 28 minutes. I don't know when that happened, but I guess if we want to make up numbers, that's fine too.
He had 28 points in 28 minutes last night, but okay.
He played 35 minutes, but it's fine. Just make up whatever you want to.
Okay.
Fix your narrative. It's
Okay.
fine. Just say 28 and 28.
The guy
'cause
balled
it's kinda
out. I
better.
mean, the guy was a stud last night.
Not the point, John. If you go say
35,
numbers, they got to be
28.
correct. You can't
He
tell me 28 and 28
dominated the
minutes
Phoenix,
and
he dominated the Dallas
John,
Mavericks.
you can't tell me 28 and 28 minutes and he played 35 minutes. You can't say
I
28
think-
and 28
absolutely
minutes.
balled.
That's
I think-
efficiency. Well, that's a
I
lie.
I
Wow,
think
man.
Dallas
It's a
is
lie. No, I don't know what she meant. I know what she said.
I think
He killed the
Dallas-
Mavericks.
Mm.
There.
I
Easy.
think Dallas
That's
is the same
cute.
team as Houston,
Real
where they live and
cute.
die by the three. And you're going against one of the best perimeter-based defenses. So you really have to hit those threes. If you ain't hitting those threes, you're not going to really have a chance against this team.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, stick a pin in it because we're going to come back here in just about a minute. We got to show some love to DBNA. When we come back, we've talked about road teams who haven't won. Well, there was one road team that actually did pull off a W. We're going to talk about them in just a moment.
If you have a business, company, or product, and you want to reach the right audience, contact DBNA Television. DBNA TV reaches over 100,000 viewers a month and has advertising plans for all budgets. You can see your ads running on Roku TV, Amazon Fire, On Demand, and dozens of other top platforms for only $1 a day. Call our advertising sales department between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday at 484-695-5187. That's 484-695-5187. Make the call and then watch the results. It pays to advertise on the DBNA Television Network.
Welcome back into the sports arena on a Wednesday night. You got your man Eric Wilson alongside our queen of hoops, Megan Price, sports reporter without pay, Ray Lynn, John Shear, Sideline Sports, and our man JJ. We good? Everybody good? Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so let's switch over here because, as we said, the series truly doesn't start until the road team wins. Well, that is exactly what Milwaukee Bucks have done. The Milwaukee Bucks have taken Game 5, and they beat the Boston Celtics 110-107. So, I'm going to ask the question. Is Milwaukee closing this out on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whenever they play next? I have to look. But, John Shear, are they closing it out?
I think so. I mean, this was the game the Celtics had to have. They had it, and then they let it slip away. I mean, you have to have this game. If you're you got to knock out the Bucks. Like, they're the defending champs for a reason. You have a chance to, kind of like a boxer, hit them, knock them down. You know, they're going to get back up after 7 or 8 seconds, but they're wobbly. But instead, you let them turn the tables on you, and you cannot let them do that. And you did just that. Drew Holiday with a fantastic play on Marcus Smart. I think the Bucks have this now. I mean, that might. I think that's the final blow to the Celtics. They had to have this game.
All right, JJ, since you're back with us, sir, talk to me about that matchup between Milwaukee and Boston. Is the series over?
Yep. Let me apologize for the connection, but I actually think this is going to go 7 because one thing I realized and I respect about Boston is that they know what they have to face. They know adversity. They've been across every type of situation in basketball, so to speak, and this coach has made the proper adjustments. It's taking a lot out of these teams to win these games. And I will say, just as much as I want to count Boston out, because I think because Giannis is the best player on the court, especially in crunch time, Boston somehow comes back. They know how to win out in Milwaukee, and I think they have a good chance. This is probably my favorite series of the entire second round, just because both teams are evenly matched, and it kind of goes down to the wire, except for Game 3. But I think this is going to go 7 because I think they're going to go into Milwaukee, and they're all going to play significantly better. Time Lord may come back, and that's a big deal for them. And anytime they have him on the court, they're a much better defensive team, especially in the interior, which is where Giannis eats. So I think it's going to go 7, but a great game tonight. You know, Drew Holiday is the best Holiday, the absolute best Holiday. He's what I view that Marcus Smart could be at his absolute peak. A great defensive player, but also a consistent offensive option. Right now, Smart doesn't really, he picks and chooses his spots, but he's effective when he does.
All right. Ray Lynn, talk to me.
Marcus Smart, in his wildest dreams, will never be offensively what Drew Holiday is. As a matter of fact, what I was thinking as this game ended was, if Marcus Smart was half as good offensively as he thinks he is, Boston would be unbeatable. Somebody explain to me how 2 possessions down the stretch with the game in the balance, Jason Tatum doesn't touch the ball. Explain to me how Jaylen Brown doesn't touch the ball. White doesn't touch the ball. Horford doesn't touch the ball. 2 possessions, and the only player who touched the ball is Marcus Smart. This boy got so much confidence, it is unbelievable. Like, if go look at my tape when I talked about him winning Defensive Player of the Year. I said, he leave a lot to be desired on offense. He thinks he's great on offense. He took the ball out of bounds to him and went to the rack like he just knew, I'm that guy. I'm supposed to take this shot. And then took the ball out and begged for it back. Give it back to me just to go turn it over again. It's almost like Drew Holiday said, if a guard was going to win Defensive Player of the Year, it was supposed to be me. Let me just show y'all what's up. I'm not even mad. Drew Holiday made 2 great plays that just don't happen every day. But I can't understand for the life of me how Jason Tatum doesn't get the rock. Like, Marcus Smart was like, I got it. Come on, man. Come on, bro. God. He one of them dudes who's so great on defense, you live with it. But Jesus Christ, he's horrible on offense.
Maybe you thought
Megan,
Jaylen
can
Brown
you
was
answer?
Kwame
Hold
Brown.
on, John. Megan, can you answer that question? Can you answer that question? Why did Marcus Smart be the only man to touch the ball?
I have no answer for that other than maybe coaching, inexperiencing in coaching. I mean, it is his rookie season. He is on an extremely high platform at this moment. So maybe, I don't have an answer for that one. It just does not seem
listen. I was
it seems like the non-smart, pun intended thing to do.
I agree. John, what were you going to say?
Oh, I said maybe he thought he was Kwame Brown and said Jaylen Brown. Maybe that's what he did.
Wow.
Hey,
Okay.
Eric,
I don't know why.
Eric.
Yes, sir.
You know, we talked about mashed potatoes and green beans the other day.
Yeah.
Right? The sides are supposed to be better when the main's on the floor. Marcus Smart is a career role player. Those guys are supposed to be more efficient because they're never the focus of a defensive game plan, right? They're supposed to knock down open shots. You know, Marcus Smart been in the league for 8 years and is a career 38% shooter. Career 38%. He's never supposed to get the ball in the clutch, ever. And he did it twice.
Okay, so are we saying now? You saying complimentary pieces? He's supposed to be mashed potatoes and green beans. Can we make him the cornbread and just keep it moving?
I don't know what we want to call him. He's put it like this. JJ used Drew Holiday, right? Great defensive guard. So is Patrick Beverly. Marcus Smart is closer to Patrick Beverly than he is Drew Holiday.
Is Marcus Smart like Rudy
I
Gobert?
agree with that. I agree with that analogy for sure.
All right, let's keep it moving here on the Sports Arena tonight with the entire crew and our guest, JJ. So next up, Ja Morant possibly being out for the rest of the series. Golden State, Memphis. We know, listen, if you don't, then something's truly wrong. The elevator don't go to the top floor, I'm going to say. But you know at some point Golden State's just gonna shut this down. But losing Ja Morant, is that a blessing or a curse as we finish out this series? Because we have seen that sometimes Memphis does play better without him. Megan Price, Queen of Hoops, what do you think with regard to Memphis and Golden State?
Well, I will preface this by saying them playing better without Ja is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I understand what the record is, but you're talking about your franchise player. The team is built around this man. And, I mean, he's the future of your franchise. So, no, he's your absolute best player, and he's not on the court. So you are not better without him. I'm sorry, it just does not add up. I don't really care what their record is, 20-6. I get it, but Ja really makes that team run. So no, I don't believe that. But moving into the series was going to be over with or without Ja. Having Ja extended it one more game, but they were not winning this series against Golden State. I don't know who is winning against Golden State. I'll take it that far. I think it's very possible they could be taking the championship home. So in my opinion, I don't know who can stop Golden State, but it wasn't going to be Memphis. But congrats on an excellent season. And you just got to preserve the safety of the future of your franchise, and that is Ja Morant. So he's done for the season. We'll see you next year. Get healthy.
But I mean, right now, Megan, they're up by 20. Memphis is up by 20 over Golden State as of right now with 2:39 left in the second quarter. So, I mean, I'm not going to go out there and say that they're going to win this game because we do know at any time the Splash Brothers, now complemented by Jordan Poole, we know what Draymond's capable of. They can turn the tide. But if they do, and let's say for argument's sake, or actually really quick, does anybody feel like Memphis is going to make this into a 7-game series? Yes or no?
With Ja, yes, that's what I was saying. With Ja, this is a 7-game series. Without him, it's a 6-game series.
Okay. All right. Then let me go to JJ then. Talk to me about Golden State Memphis.
Personally, I think with or without Ja was going 6 anyway, because they just haven't seemed to be able to put it all together, whereas Ja's going off and the team is going off as well. Like I said, I keep referencing this. At home, you play better and much more comfortably. And with them, the last game, they had a chance to win the game. Golden State just showed you why they are who they are, and that's why they won this game game 4. I agree with Megan. I honestly think the team that's going to be representing the West is Golden State in the finals. And I think even if they lose tonight, they're going to shut it down when they get back home. It's asking a lot of a team without Ja to go to a hostile environment with a championship team that's used to playing in these type of situations and coming out on top when they have their 3 best players who seem to play better at home. The last time those 3 players went off, they beat them when Ja went off by 30, game 3.
Okay. All right. John, Raylin, anything y'all want to talk about this series before we move on?
Yeah, 2 things. One, if you look at this comment right here, and I was one that was, it was more so me just taking a shot at Ja when I was saying, man, how valuable are you when your team can win like this when you're not playing? So shout out to my guy, Augustus McMillan, in the comments saying that when they was winning those games, it was just a lot of teams that couldn't score like Golden State. And I'm going to just go ahead and just say that's just not true at all. They beat Brooklyn. They beat Milwaukee. They beat Golden State. They beat Dallas. They beat Miami, like they beat Toronto. They was beating some really good teams when Ja Morant was out. I don't think that translates to the playoffs because I don't think you can play championship level basketball, hell, without 2 superstars, let alone without your 1, right? Because even if Memphis were to win a championship, it would be an anomaly. You look at the history of the game, go back 30, 40 years. Only 2 teams have won a championship with their superstar not having a sidekick. That's Dirk in 2011 and Hakeem in 94. Everybody else had a legit Hall of Fame number 2 guy, right? And then the Pistons are an anomaly themselves in 04. Other than that, there's Kobe and Shaq, it's Steph and Clay, it's Mike and Scotty, it's LeBron and Wade. Like you don't win with 1 superstar. So even with Ja, their chances were slim. Without him, they have no chance, no matter how good their record was. And just to answer Megan's question, I don't know who's going to beat Golden State. Here's the answer to that question, Megan.
Nobody.
I mean, Giannis. I mean, there was no superstar on Giannis's team last year. I'm not going to say Middleton or Drew Holiday. That's not a superstar. Don't give me that. That is not LeBron and Wade. That's not Scotty and Mike.
So there are levels to this, right? When you start going down, I've done this before and said, hey, rank all these number 2s, right? Like when Shaq and Kobe was together and Shaq was the clear number 1, Kobe's probably the greatest number 2 of all time, right? That's not, Magic and Kareem, 2 guys that are top 5 all time. But Chris Middleton, you got to think, Chris Middleton closed out a series when Giannis wasn't on the court to the tune of 40. So, like, in some huge moments, Chris Middleton has stepped up like you would expect a superstar player to step up. I keep telling people, guys that average 20.7 rebounds and 5 assists on 50, 40, 90 don't grow on trees. That's Chris Middleton.
So what would you say about the Toronto Raptors with Kawhi Leonard? Who was their superstar number 2, would you say?
They didn't have one.
Popovich.
So,
no.
No, I would say, honestly, because I watched that series, and I say if you want to talk about a clear number 2, I would say it's going to either be Lowry at that point or even the
Siakam was pretty
emergence,
damn good for
or
him,
I was
wasn't
gonna
he?
say that's my other guy, or the emergence of Siakam.
And Van
So-
Fleet plays. Go look at that finals. I think Toronto had 6 players in double figures, and I would say Kawhi Leonard's number 2 in the 2000, what was it, 19 finals, right? Was Lady Luck.
Yeah.
No Kevin Durant, no Klay Thompson. That was his number 2. Was anyway. Neither here or there.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
But
I don't
I-
think he had a
fair enough.
legit guy like. To your point, yes, he can go in that conversation as well.
But I understand
Hey,
your
listen,
point about Memphis.
there's 3 things. There's skill, there's luck, and there's pure athletic talent. And on any given day, luck is going to beat out the other 2. I'm just saying. 10-second break, and we're right back with more here on the Sports Arena tonight. All right, welcome back here, my man. Your man Eric Wilson, alongside Megan Price, Ray Lynn, John Shear, and JJ Jenkins here tonight, joining us on the Sports Arena live every Monday and Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Check out our website, thesportsarena1.com. So let's talk baseball, shall we? Because, again, shout out to my man Ray Lynn. The 4 best teams in baseball right now are in the 2 biggest markets in the country: the Yankees and the Mets, the Dodgers and the Angels. What are we looking at here? And granted, it's the beginning of the season. Anything and everything is possible. Listen, the Mets always do this. The Mets get their hopes up, they get their fans' hopes up high, and then by July, you start to see them just make a run into the ground. Okay? As a Philly fan, I already know what to expect. So for me, I'm just like, yeah, have your fun. Come see me in August. Matter of fact, come check me August 7th. And then, we'll have a conversation. All right. But I ain't worried about the Mets. But the Yankees, different story. But now you're playing in an AL East that has a Boston. You've got a historic rivalry with them. You have a team in the Tampa Bay Rays that looks to be making themselves relevant and consistent. Let's not forget that, speaking of Toronto, the Blue Jays, they might shock a lot of people. And then, of course, you have John Shears. Oh, what a show. Shameless plug. Mondays at 9:15. Baltimore Orioles. But it's just, I have more faith in the Yankees remaining on that level than I do the Mets. I'm biased. I'm a Philly guy. Can't stand them. Don't like them. The only thing that me and the Mets have in common is we both hate the Braves. So. But anyhow, talk to me about these New York teams, please, Ray Lynn.
Well, the Yankees are doing what they've always done, right? If you go back to the 90s, you go back to the 2000s, like they just spend money, they sign players, and they are going to hit bombs. They're going to outscore you. They're going to put up a lot of runs. I was looking, I think they got like the best plus minus differential in the game at like plus 78 or something crazy like that. Like they just score a lot of runs. Aaron Judge and Walker, like that's what they do. They score. But the Mets, on the other hand, went out and got a guy who has a case. Like when it's all said and done, you're going to look back at this era, right? And his name is going to have to be mentioned as that guy or one of those guys. It's going to be Clayton Kershaw, Justin Verlander, and then Max Scherzer. Like he has a claim as the best pitcher in the game. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he doesn't throw his arm out. Like it's unreal what he does with the baseball, right? But they went and got pitching. Like it all starts and stops with pitching. If we think about those great Braves teams, all those years, what do you think about? Glavine, Maddox, Smoltz. You don't think about nothing at the plate. You think about their pitchers. So they went out and they got Scherzer. He's leading that pitching staff and they're winning games. I think all 4, you said talk about the New York teams. I think both of those teams can maintain this level of play throughout the whole season. And I expect them both to be there at the end when it matters. But they're doing it in 2 different ways. One team is doing it at the plate. The other team is doing it with pitching.
John, talk to me about, because you sir have the AL East and I have the NL East. So go ahead, talk to me about.
I just don't see the Mets. I don't see the Mets lasting, just because they're without Jacob deGrom until at least July. He's always injured, and without him, they're just not going to survive. I mean, it's only May, middle of May. They got to survive at least 2 more months. That's if he's healthy. This guy's always hurt. And that they need him. Max Scherzer's great, but look at his age. You know, you got to expect this guy to last for 33 starts at his age, carry the load, when a guy like DeGrom should be right there helping carry the load, and he's always hurt. That's why, and the Mets are the Mets. I mean, they always find a way to like like Eric said, they always find a way to melt down middle of the season or late in the season. Like they had that historic collapse a couple years back. Was it at the end of September? They just found a way to blow the wild card lead like halfway through September, and they just melted down the rest of the way. So, like, that's the Mets. That's what they do. So I don't believe in that. Yankees will make the playoffs, but they haven't won a championship since, I think, 2009, which by their standards is a long time. And they always melt down in the playoffs. They always do. The Dodgers, I think, will be fine. Angels, until I see it, that's when I'll believe it. But they haven't done anything for Mike Trout in all the years he's been there, and they haven't gotten him postseason appearances. So I'm not going to believe that one until I see it, because Mike Trout's they've been wasting his career over there.
I told Mike Trout to come home. I told Mike Trout, back the truck up to your house, give this man whatever he wanted, Philly, and go get us Mike Trout. Because I'm telling you, if we had Trout with the Philadelphia Phillies, the NL East would be nothing to even. It'd be a foregone conclusion during preseason. Okay, I'm telling y'all right now, let it be known. But he's still out there in LA, and for all of John's points, I can't argue them. Here's what I'll say about the four teams really quick. With the New York Yankees, I know it's going to be a dogfight till the end of the regular season between them, Boston, and the Rays.
Yeah, Boston's in dead last. They're under us.
I get that, but John, this is what Boston does. See, Boston doesn't shock or surprise me. They always start off like this, and then all of a sudden, it's like they just there's an uptick, and out of nowhere, they just shoot up. But they always remain along those lines. It's the beginning of the season. With regards to the Mets, I've already said my piece on them, and I'm going to continue to say my piece on them. You're great right now. Enjoy your little victory, because guess what? Come July, matter of fact, come August 7th, I'm going to say it again, it's going to go down like this. You'll be fine. Now, flipping over to the west side, to the left coast, as Mike Caratenuto says, the Dodgers. That's the team that I feel like is going to, how do I put this? I'm not worried about them, but I know we're only 30 some games in. It's 20% of the season's gone, a fifth of the season. It's like, but I just expect more with the Dodgers. I do, because I just know what the capability is with this team. With the Angels, John, I couldn't agree with you more. Mike Trout, you know how I feel about you. You should have came back to the 2-1-5 when the opportunity presented itself. Philly upper management, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves for not going to get the hometown boy, bringing him back here, bringing him back to Philly, and then just showing up and showing out. But it is what it is. My hope for Trout is that he remains that high intensity, high level player. He's a class personified guy, and hopefully I get the opportunity to see him at Citizen Bank one time and just say, "Bro, you need to be here." But the Angels, yeah. I couldn't agree with you more, John. It's one of those things where it's like, you got to get this man something, because you're wasting away talent. So I'll defer to JJ and to Megan on this, and then we've got one more topic before we get out of here tonight.
Take it away, Megan. I'll follow you out.
Okay. I think in the National League, like I know you said keep it New York and LA, but in the National League, I think you got to talk about the Brewers, who got basically the same record as the Dodgers, or the same amount of wins as the Dodgers. I do think the Dodgers are going to be okay. I think we're going to see them in the postseason. We're going to see them make a deep run. But as far as the Mets, I don't take them as seriously as some. And I'm in agreement with you guys. Like, seeing is believing. We haven't seen them win a whole lot. We've seen them collapse a whole lot. But the Brewers really, really stick out to me. Going over to the American League, I just got to shout out my Rangers and say thank you for not being in dead last. Thank you for spending $500 million and not doing a thing with it in the offseason. I really appreciate you. Darvish, we miss you. Please come back. And that's all I got for the American League.
So I kind of echo so many points that you guys have said. I kind of expect this from the Dodgers. The only team I will say out of that of the National American League, is the San Francisco Giants. I think typically, if you look over the course of the career of the Dodgers at their records, they've always been good in the regular season, but the team that kind of showed up out of California was the Giants when they got to the postseason. And I think that's going to be the two best teams out of the AL. In the NL, I do believe in the Yankees. I do think that they're a team that's going to make it to the playoffs. I don't know how far they're going to go, but I think they're going to be a team that makes it to the playoffs. And I will have to echo Ray Lynn's point because we won a title with Mad Max, to be honest with you. And so with us Nationals, we have a forever grateful and debt to him because we had a title with him. We wanted to keep him here, but he did want to leave. I am shocked that he's in New York because I thought he wanted to stay in LA. But Mad Max is a great person to lead the way as Jacob deGrom gets back. And I think they're waiting for him to hold off as much as he possibly can so that when Jacob comes back, they have that 1-2 rotation, much like the Nationals
when he gets
did
hurt again.
Well, to be honest with you, he has a similar career to much as Steven Strasburg, and Steven Strasburg and Max came together to help us win a title. So we'll see. I think that might be the same thinking that they have with them. Shout out to you Phillies because I got to give it to your man because Bryce Harper has become a very consistent batter and a very consistent player for you guys. And, you know, he was a little streaky with us.
Listen, he got that 10-year
I will
or
say on the
13-year
Yankees,
contract. Go ahead.
I will say on the Yankees, though, the difference between them and the Mets is in their record is Yankees are coming off an 11-game win streak. There's a difference. You got on a hot streak like that, and we're going to see them hit another hot streak like that again, maybe a couple times during this season. So I do definitely believe in the Yankees way more than the Mets.
Also, remember they lost 2 out of 3. They lost 2 out of 3 to us earlier in the season. So don't you forget that, Yankees. You lost 2 out of 3 to us, and we have about 150 to 200 million less than you in payroll. Okay.
The rest of us only caught one, John, against them. Thank you very much.
And we only have 29 million in payroll. They have like 200 some million. Big difference.
That's true.
Listen, all I'm gonna say is to JJ's point about Bryce Harper. When Bryce Harper got his contract, I said, you better bring me not 1, not 2, but 3 rings. In order for that contract to be a legitimate contract, the Philadelphia Phillies need to win 3 World Series in order for me to feel like that money that was given to him is worth it.
Did he just win MVP?
That's all. Does he have a ring?
Does
he have a ring with Philadelphia?
I get you.
But see, JJ, this is how they are. They care about MVP in baseball, but not rings. But then in basketball, they care. These Philly fans don't make sense. One sport cares about MVPs and not rings. The other one cares about rings and not MVPs. It doesn't make sense. Philly fans are just crazy.
Well, fans in general, though. But like, I don't think you can judge players, teams, whatever, across sports the same way, right? Like in baseball, one guy standing there with the bat in his hand doesn't make a world of a difference, right? Like if you don't put the team together well, it doesn't matter. When Bryce Harper got that contract, I told people this isn't about winning. This is about them getting a return on the investment. Bryce Harper at the batter's box mean you put more fans in the seats, mean you sell more merchandise, mean you can raise the price of your tickets. That's why you give him that contract so you can get your money back. Like some of the best hitters in the game don't have rings. Ken Griffey don't have a ring. Barry Bonds don't have a ring. Mike Trout can't get to the playoffs. And those are some of the best to ever do it. So like, no matter how great Bryce Harper is, if Philly don't put the team together, even when you guys had Ryan Howard, man, like it just takes so much more. So I will never
won a ring with Ryan Howard.
I know, but they had so much more. Look at the rest of that team.
Yeah, their pitching was
insane. Go look at that team that they had. Right. You have to put
threw mustard packets at Joe Madden's wife during the World Series.
Would you stop?
Listen, man, look at that Dodgers team right now. We talking those 4 teams. We talking about New York and LA. Look at that Dodgers team, man. That's the best pitching staff in baseball, led by Kershaw. They got 3 dudes right now with sub-2 ERAs, and then on the other side of the ball, you got to deal with Freeman, Bellinger, and Mookie Betts. Like they're tough.
Trey Turner
at the plate.
Well,
they're just tough, man. They're a well-rounded team, and that's how you win championships. You look at when the Red Sox were successful, you got Manny Ramirez and Papi on one side with Johnny Damon, all those guys, and then the pitching staff, you got Pedro, right? And the kid Kurt Schilling with the blood in the sock and all of that. Like you just have to build a team in baseball, man. One player, it ain't like basketball. But one player can make a difference. You got LeBron James. You just keep going.
Well, you
to
said
the finals.
2. You have to have at least 2 of them in basketball.
Oh Lord.
Okay, we're moving on. Last topic. Speaking of basketball, John, thank you for that layup. We are going to show some love and pay our respects to a great in the world of basketball. The late, great Bob Lanier has passed away at the age of 73. He did play for the Detroit Pistons and the Milwaukee Bucks and is in the Hall of Fame and was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 1992. Mike wanted to share a story about Bill Lanier. Unfortunately, he's not here tonight, so I want to give the floor to the four of you. Anything that y'all wanted to say about what you may have seen or experienced or just watching him, I want to give y'all the floor to do that now.
Before my time. I mean, just growing up in Detroit, you hear the name, but well before my time, I didn't see him play. I don't know a lot about him, and I refuse to get on here and fake the funk. So it's just always sad to see a sports legend go, right? I mean, but I don't know a whole lot besides the fact that he played in Detroit and he's a Hall of Famer, one of the greats.
Same.
Okay.
I will say I wanted to kind of chime in on this. Adam Silver had this to say about him, and I thought this was something interesting that was off the court but still serviced the game of basketball. He said, for more than 30 years, Bob served as our global ambassador and as a special assistant to David Stern, and then myself, traveling the world to teach the game's values and make a positive impact on young people's lives everywhere. It was a labor of love for Bob, and for who was one of the kindest, most genuine people I've ever been around. So I think that just speaks to a lot of what he did outside of being on the court, but still for the game.
Awesome. All right. Well, that is going to do it for us here tonight on the Sports Arena. JJ Jenkins, thank you so much for joining us. Do me a favor, my brother. Let the people know. Give us 30 seconds of where they can find you at.
Oh, easily, man. You can find me on the NBA carousel covering the Mavericks and the Wizards. You can have me on the Sip Off. Love to have you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of the Sports Arena. And then I am also with Jay, Dom, and James Tatum over on the Gauntlet on Saturday nights at 7. But all in all, anything sports, I'm there. All right, you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it. John Shear, Ray Lynn, Megan Price, your man Eric Wilson for the Sports Arena. Everyone have a blessed evening. We will definitely talk to y'all back on Monday. John, don't get sick because, we still got a game 6 and a potential game 7. So there probably will be more than likely an impromptu Sports Arena sometime over the weekend because our bet is still going. And it does come down to this. If, in fact, John Shear does win, I owe him dinner when I see him next month in June. But should Philly be successful and show the hell up, sorry, then John gonna owe me dinner. But we'll
JJ, you
let
gotta let
y'all
us know
know.
some good spots in DC that Eric can pay for.
Oh, you like I got you.
All right. With that being said, we are out of here. Hey, make sure you check out Megan Price's new show, also 3 Chicks in a Pod. Make sure you check out the Sports Reporter Without Pay. His blogs are something to truly listen. I always say it's thought-provoking, it's controversial, but you know what it is? It's genuine, and that is our man Ray Lynn. The face of Sideline Sports, our man John Shear. We will holler at y'all later. Have a good night. Peace.